What if I told you that running less, fewer days, fewer miles could actually make you a faster runner? I know what you're thinking. That doesn't make any sense. It sounds like clickbait. It sounds like some sort of cheat code. But if you're over 45, 50, 60, or actually even if you're not, the idea of running more is better could be the exact belief that's keeping you stuck. Because quite frankly, running more very often without structure leads to more breakdown, more fatigue, and very often more frustration. Here's what we're going to cover today. Why running less, done right, leads to better results, the science behind a 3-day training week, what to do in each of those 3 training sessions, and how to structure your week to boost your performance, reduce your injury risk, and reignite your love for running. Let's start with the hard truth. If you're running every day, especially without structure, you're probably training harder than your body can actually absorb. And if your body can't absorb the training, well, ultimately, there's no adaptation happening. You're probably just digging yourself deeper into a hole and thinking you can call it progress. Here's what most people get wrong. Running is a stimulus or a stress on your body. But your progress, your speed, your endurance, your power only really comes from how well your body responds to that stress. And that response actually only happens during recovery. This is what we call supercompensation. Supercompensation is a theoretical model in sports science that really describes your body's response to a training stimulus over a period of time. To break it down, training adds that stress to the body, which is a temporary breakdown in our performance capacity due to fatigue and muscle damage ultimately. The recovery is what allows our body to restore itself, to rebuild those muscle fibers that have been damaged, to recover properly to some level of baseline. The supercompensation factor is now where we build ourselves past that level of baseline, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, a little bit fitter than the time before. Our body didn't like the stress we put it under, so now it gets itself a little bit more resilient to be able to handle that stress better the next time. Timing matters. If you train too soon while your body is still fatigued, you don't hit that supercompensation window and you ultimately just build more stress. It is important to note real life is more complex. Recovery curves aren't always predictable. Supercompensation is not a magic bounce back. It depends on training quality, your recovery, and how close you are to overtraining. Okay, let's look at this from a different angle. See this glass of water as your body, all right? This salt I have in this jug as the training stress that you're putting on the body every time you go out for that run. So here's your body. We're going to add a stress and we are going to stir. And you can see the water is cloudy and murky, and that's natural. That's that systemic breakdown that I spoke about. But the more I stir in the recovery and the longer I take before the next stress, you can see it actually clearing. But it hasn't quite cleared properly yet, so we're not completely recovered. I'm going to now add the next training stress. And as we go, it gets more murky, but we're still not recovered properly, but I'm ready for my next training session. So here we go. We add another training stress and we keep going and we keep going. And this is really what I'm trying to get at as the running every day of the week. As you can see now, the salt has stopped dissolving. This glass of water is cloudy. And this is what eventually leads to that breakdown, potential illness or injuries. We just haven't given our body enough time to clear the stress. However, let's still see our body as after a training session, it's still murky, but now what we're going to do is we're going to add more water. So taking a bit more time between each of those training sessions, more recovery, and by adding more water, we're allowing our body to build back up. You can see the water is getting a little bit clearer. It's building back that resilience. Take more water, more recovery. We keep building up. And as we do that, the water is clearing, dissolving the salt better, which means we are almost ready for our next training session to happen again. This is really where the magic happens, allowing our body enough time to recover and rebuild before we put the next stress on the body again. This demonstration is especially true for older runners. Why? Because as we age, we lose that hormonal support that once helped us bounce back fast. Recovery time takes longer, your muscle protein synthesis slows, and your quality of sleep very often declines. If you're not allowing for enough recovery time, you're just spinning your wheels. You're not lazy, you're not underperforming. You're just not recovering well enough to truly reap the benefits of the training that you're putting in. That's why running less with intent and purpose can unlock more speed, more energy, and more joy. So, is just 3 days a week really enough? Let's break this myth once and for all. You really don't need to be training 5, 6, 7 days a week to become a better runner. If each session in your week is strategically designed, you can accomplish the entire cycle in just 3 high-quality runs. Let's be very clear about this. These are not just any 3 runs. They're deliberate. Each serves a unique purpose and together form a complete system. It is important to note, I'm not saying everyone should be training just 3 days a week. If you're a more advanced runner and you typically are running 6, 7 days a week, you can get away with 4, maybe 5 sessions in the week. Ultimately, what I'm saying though is less is more. See the system as a triangle. In the first corner, we've got our quality work. This develops our top-end anaerobic capacity, neuromuscular efficiency, and running economy. In the second corner, we've got our easy or aerobic work. It helps you utilize substrates more efficiently, handles volume, and better recovery. In the third corner is our long runs. Endurance is improved, our stamina, our mental resilience. This trains the body to manage fuel, hydration, and effort over a period of time. With these 3 pillars, you cover every major physiological system required for long-term progress. What do we do on the other days? Well, that's where we can layer in our strength training, mobility work, proper active recovery or even cross training, and really importantly, a rest day and good sleep. Let's start with the one everyone loves to hate. This is where we target improving our VO2 max, our lactate threshold, our running under fatigue, and our mental focus and confidence. These are your quality sessions or high intensity sessions. And it's not really about sprinting until you collapse. It's about teaching your body to run more efficiently while tired. Most people refer to these as speed sessions, but again, it's really not about trying to go as hard as you can every time you do one of these sessions. It needs to be done with intent and purpose. These quality sessions will often differ depending on the physiological response you're trying to train. Those are usually going to be dependent on what training phase or training cycle you're in. To give you an example of some of these sessions, they could be something like 4 by 4 minute tempo type intervals with 90 seconds to 2-minute rest. Could look like 8 200-meter hill repeats, for example, with a 1 to 2-minute rest, and even a progression run of 20 minutes with you increasing the pace every 5 minutes over the 20-minute span. The idea of these sessions is that they are short, often just 20 to 30 minutes of actual work, but they are potent. These sessions are essential for older runners as they keep your fast twitch muscle fibers active, they improve your stride efficiency as well as your neuromuscular function. Now, run number 2, and this is where most people go wrong. They run too hard on their easy days because it feels better. But your easy aerobic run is the bedrock to your running fitness. Low intensity, high reward. Here's what it improves. Capillary density, so that you deliver more oxygen to the muscles. Mitochondrial efficiency, so your cells produce more energy, fat metabolism, so your body can preserve glycogen and potentially delay fatigue, and parasympathetic tone, so you improve your recovery and reduce your stress. I know this might not feel productive in the moment, but trust me, this is where you truly improve your aerobic capacity. And then the big one, run number 3. This is where we are spending time on our feet to improve our muscular endurance, our mental toughness, our fuel efficiency, our hydration strategies, as well as our pacing discipline. I'm talking about your long runs. These are where you train your gut, your brain, and your muscles to perform over a period of time. See this as the dress rehearsal for race day, where you can experiment with nutrition, hydration, and even getting your race day kit prepared for the big day. The thing about the long run is you do not need to do this all too often, especially if you're over the age of 50. Once a week is enough and is the smart, sustainable approach to your training. Knowing all this, it's the balance that matters, not perfection. Here's the real secret, where it all comes together. 3 days a week removes the noise. There's no more junk miles, no more guesswork, and no more running through fatigue just to check a box. Instead, you show up with purpose, you train with clarity, and you recover with intention. You stack quality, you protect your body, and you're building consistency. Ultimately, you're unlocking the joy. If you're a runner over the age of 50 and still chasing speed or distance or performance, this is not a compromise. This is your competitive advantage. If this approach resonates with you and you're tired of burning out chasing progress, then you're ready for the next step. Click here to watch the next video, the 3 marathon-specific runs that matter most. We'll break down how to structure your week around the workouts that actually move the needle. You'll learn the system we've used to help thousands of runners over the age of 50 improve, not by doing more, but by training smarter.